Hey guys, and welcome back to another YouTube video. In this video I'll be going through the Western Bulldogs vs Adelaide round 10 game. A game that I didn't catch too much as I was obviously watching the Swans game. And yeah, it was just it seemed like a pretty good game for me fantasy wise, in terms of Dawson failing and looking here before I switch screens. Pedler failed as well. McElhaney, another rookie, failed. We also have Jones here with a 77 that sort of failed. Parnell's an interesting one as he's gone 77 again. So he looks like he's got scoring potential, but I wouldn't, just based on that first half, wouldn't go for him. So before we get into the video, remember to like and subscribe, turn the notification bell on so you know when I upload, and let's get into the video. So as you can see here, this is what I was talking about just a second ago. Talking about Curtis Jones. He ended up at 77. We talked about Pedler here. He started off really well, but then faded very, very quickly, which was really good for me as he's still well owned and a lot of people had him on field, which sort of makes up for the Rory LAIRD going nuts, as well as me having both Stewart and also Powell, which we'll talk about, stuffed up, and I want to get him out as he just hasn't performed for me to expectations. So we got Dale here, huge second half, so I wouldn't really look into him. I'd want more of that form to pick back up, but he is certainly someone out of the bye that if you could snag him for a D6 role, I would say in the past, if you could snag a guy that has the potential to go 100s plus at that D6 role for that price, I would say go for it. But this year seems to be a year in which we've had a lot of guys get some really good cash gen going, and we're at a lot higher than I think we were this time last year in terms of not points generation, but team value, etc., as I think we're a good probably 5 or so % higher than we were last year. And I know that there was a bump, but it wasn't, I don't think it was 5%. I think we were talking at around 2 or 3% of a bump in team value, like overall spending. I think it was, I want to say we jumped up 500,000 out of 15 million, which is around 3% gain. But I think we have a 2 or 3 percentage gain on top of that in terms of value that we've been able to generate from players. So you got Dale here, you got English here. He's been absolutely huge, and yeah, his value doesn't really matter anymore. It's just more about scores with him, and has a huge third quarter of 48 points to get to the 1-2-1 in the end. Basser Smith had a 50-point first or something, yeah, 47-point first and a 34-point third. 81 points in those two really solidified him up to the 1-2-1. Did he get a 1-2-1 in the end? Am I just, yeah, no. What? I swear that's not 121 points. That looks like a 117. So I'm guessing they've just missed a tackle somewhere or something, as that looks like a 117. Then you got Daniel here, and huge second half of, well, a huge last 3 quarters, I should say, and 101 in the last 3. So got up to 117. McRae, one of my mates, traded him out, and I was just laughing, especially when he kicked this goal here, because I think that got him up to 106, and I was just like, this is going to be hysterical, because he traded him out for, I think he traded him out for merit in the end, so it wasn't the worst trade, but he could have probably found a lot more value, as McRae decided to beat his break even this week, and certainly not go. But yeah, that was just funny. And then Bont, just a very reliable 110, especially when other guys weren't doing so well. Libba 108, Williams 100. He's been annoying because he's actually done pretty well, I'm pretty sure. So he's someone that's just popped up every week, and I'm just like, I can't go for him, can't. But he scored really well. Waitman, Norton, Baker, Richards, Scott, Duray, Lobb, Gardner, none of these guys really matter. But then the huge guy that who didn't score was Johannesson, and that helped me bring back a lot of these guys that bring back into, I guess, level with a lot of these guys who scored huge scores out of guys and had huge captaincy scores. So Johannesson owned by 2%. I thought he was higher than that, to be honest with you. Owned by, wait for it, 2.85% of people own him, and yeah, he just scored horrifically, and that's a round breaker. Jones, Artie Jones, 24, he's not going to go up anywhere. McNeil, and then O'Donnell again scored another 10, I'm pretty sure, so that's really disappointing for anyone that owned him. Then you have Laird here, 131, huge game all round, and yeah, disappointed not to get him, as I had him. I also had, in my plans, I also had Merritt until Fahey was out injured. I should make this screen like that so you can actually see. I've had also another guy that went 130, I believe. I had Butters in my plans as well, if it wasn't for that niggle at the end of the game, as I would have just gone for him, and that he scored 148. So I just gotta hope that Whitfield goes big, and it makes sense to go for him. Like, it makes sense to go for him without hindsight, but now with hindsight, it might be a bad decision unless he goes 130, 140. I think the break even for him being the better choice, I think, will be 125, I think, out of all these options. So it's going to be steep to get to that, but I think he can get to that. O'Brien, 114, didn't see this coming, to be honest with you, and yeah, he just was absolutely huge. Pretty sure he ended up with a lot of tackles, because he obviously wouldn't have got how many tackles did he end up with? I swear he was on like 3 tackles, so it wasn't as many as I thought. He ended up with 63 hitouts. That's how he absolutely got the score. 51 points outside of that. So yeah, absolutely huge from O'Brien. Another sneak peek at my my team and how it's going. And then the big fail for the round was Dawson, as he only got to 85 and no tag involved. So don't know how he didn't go bigger, but that's that, I guess. Sloan, Parnell, another performance that sort of just got him going again. Jones, Miller, Rochelle, 74, so he's dropping cash very quickly, and seems to be his role is going south. I don't know 100%. Murray, Berry as the sub, as Hinge came out early, and he looked alright, to be honest. So maybe we could see him, as his cash will just fall through the roof. I should say the roof and also the floor at this point. He's going to go down to probably 500Ks, like low 500, early 400Ks, until he can resurrect that break even. And if he can get back into the rotation and get that tackling going, he could be very, very good. Smith, Keys, Murphy, Pedler, as we talked about, another bad display from him. McElhaney, pretty bad second half, to be honest. And then you've got Scholl, Himmelberg, Rankin, another bad game from him. Golart, Fogarty, Saligo, Butts, and Hinge out injured. So yeah, that's basically that review there, and a very short review again, as I didn't watch this game in to start with, and also this there wasn't much to talk about other than really English consistency. McRae actually going big, Bontempelli going big, Dale doesn't really matter, Libber again going big, and then it was Roy Laird going big, and Dawson not scoring 110. So that's basically that. So if I go back to the main screen, that's the video there, and I'll see you guys in another video. Thanks guys, goodbye.